Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the Parable Cast. My name's Dan, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Parable. I'm 19 years old, and I live in southeast England, which, it's kind of standard for the Parable members. All of us are UK-based, so we're a very local news site kind of thing. Like, all of us are from different locations in the UK. If you haven't heard of us before, or you want to check out our content or anything along that kind of strain of thought, then you can go check out our site at www.parablegames.net. There'll be more information in the description for this video or wherever you find the podcast. So, obviously, that's good if you want to check that out. Obviously, because it's a podcast, I'm not on my own because that would be really, really boring. So, I've got two other members of the Parable team with me, and I'll leave them to introduce themselves now.
Hey there, I'm Greg, and I'm 22, and I'm editor and head of PR for Parable. I'm a huge fighting game nerd, and that's pretty much mostly what I play. I play hours and hours of these games to slowly get less shit than I currently am, and I'll be taking my skills, hopefully, to I-46 to beat some other unsuspecting people. And here's Shuckle.
Hey, I'm Matt, or Shuckle, as Greg just said. I'm sort of the editor and manager of sorts of Parable. My favourite games tend to orbit around casual simulations like Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing, just casual shit like that. But I also never turn down a visual novel or a strategy game. This being our first podcast, we're all a little bit, none of us have really done anything like it before. So we're going to sort of start off with an icebreaker, and we're just going to talk about what we've been playing recently and some of our favourite games.
Yeah, obviously, we've never done this before, so you can probably tell we're a little bit awkward, but I imagine, 10-15 minutes into it, we won't be as cringy as we are now, so like Matt said, or Shuckle, feel free to call him Shuckle because it embarrasses him a hell of a lot more. But we're going to talk about kind of what we've been playing over the last week, and I'm going to let Greg tell us first, so we can all laugh at him.
Oh, me. I've been playing, as I've released today, I released my review on Racketeer, which is Kinect-only arcade game that's coming out on Wednesday.
Yeah,
and
it's part of Summer Arcade, isn't it?
Yeah, part of Summer Arcade, second of the Summer Arcade, after Tony Hawk's, which has also been reviewed. Not by me.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, shameless plug. Click the link below, etc., etc. But no, I've been playing, and I was borrowing Kinect off a friend, and Kinect is kind of horrible in every possible way, if I'm being completely honest. And as you can see, my review was a 4.5 out of 10, which kind of was mainly because of the Kinect, because my room isn't the same size as a small field.
In fact, I've got a question about that. I was meaning to ask you earlier, but I didn't. With Racketeer,
yeah,
would you say that it would have worked better as a handheld title or something like that rather than actually being on Kinect?
I just think the whole idea of deciding to take something like Angry Bird, which works perfectly well in 2D, because it's what, $1 or something?
Yeah, less than that, definitely. I think you can get a version for free.
Exactly. So you're like, that's fine. If you want, you're on a train, you want to fling some little birds at some pigs. It's perfect.
Innovative gameplay.
Exactly. So, that's fine. That's £1, whatever. But I'm not spending 800 Microsoft points on something that is just got some better visuals and is 3D and is essentially pointless. Because I just don't know why they had to make that sort of style of gameplay into 3D when it doesn't really work, especially the Kinect, because the Kinect's horrible.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing that the Kinect kind of ended out like that rather than getting some stellar titles.
Yeah, essentially, the Kinect's just not working for me at all.
So, Shuckle, what have you been playing this week?
Not as much as I should be, really. I've been playing a hell of a lot of Shootmania. It's the sort of new competitive shooting game coming out.
Ubisoft.
But as well as that, Ubisoft. It is Ubisoft. And as far as shooting games go, I'm not a massive fan of them, but it feels very very classic in a way, which appeals to me a lot. And it feels very reminiscent of GoldenEye and that sort of
thing. Yeah.
Older game.
Did you ever play Quake?
Quake, yes, it's very similar to Quake.
Yeah, I've heard that, and that makes me really interested in it. Have you ever played Quake, Greg?
I played some Quake, but I was more Unreal Tournament kind of.
Yeah.
Mainly Unreal Tournament 2004. That was such an amazing game.
I've heard it has a lot of similarities to Quake, but yeah.
Thing with Shootmania, does it only have, one gun? Is that it entirely?
It's really odd how the gun system works, and it's not something I've ever sort of seen before. but it's terrain, of all things, that sort of governs what gun you're holding.
So what do you get in a tunnel?
In a tunnel, you get like a mine thrower that sort of shoots like these little time-delayed mines.
Okay.
And then everywhere else, you just sort of have like a 4-shot gun. And then, yeah, it's very odd, but it works so well.
Is it? It doesn't sound terribly amazing, but then
it really sounds like a good idea to me. It sounds really interesting, actually. Because obviously,
it definitely makes.
I mean, it probably works perfectly for like competitive stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like, as an example, you know, like when you're playing Halo competitive or Gears of War competitive, and like you have all the weapons spawn on the map rather than you would spawn with them in COD.
Yeah.
But if you're playing like Halo competitive, you have to get to the certain parts of the map to get the power weapons or whatever to give your team an advantage. And I'd imagine in that it's the same thing, but instead of having to go and get the weapons and wait for them to respawn, it's literally you have to get to that location. So it kind of works in a similar way to, you know, the other worlds.
One of the things I was sort of worried about maybe is that I sort of expected there might be like certain positions that definitely hold a strategic advantage. So I sort of expected it might be like a race just to get to those positions and hold them.
Yeah.
But it really isn't like that at all. It just works. That's the only way I can really describe it.
Fair enough.
And it adds a hell of a lot for viewing, which is obviously a main concern for them, considering it's going esports.
Do you know if Shootmania is meant to be free when it comes out? Or?
I have no idea. I don't think so for some reason.
Alright, fair enough. I don't know either. I just know that the beta's out for the next, 2 weeks still. But obviously it's a closed beta. So, that's what Shuckle and Greg have been playing. I've been kind of extremely boring because I'm a competitive player and I've been playing literally nothing but Call of Duty all week. Yeah. There's not really much to say about that. I play professional European level, so I have an event coming up in the next few weeks, which I've been practicing for, so any kind of gaming for fun I haven't been doing. And
yeah. We don't game for fun, we just game.
we know video gaming here.
We hate video games.
Nobody enjoys video games anymore, though.
Everybody knows that the video game industry is just for the money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly why we're on this podcast.
And all the women.
Obviously, all the women. Beautiful women like Shuckle. But yeah, that's what we've been playing. Obviously, it doesn't really condense exactly what we've been playing, but it's the kind of main titles we've been playing each week, this week. So it's just kind of an insight into, you know, what bad taste we have.
Hey.
Okay, moving on. Obviously, because we're kind of a gaming press site, we do news, we do reviews, we do stuff like that. We thought it would be a good idea to talk about what's been happening in the gaming world or the gaming industry for the past week. So we're going to kind of bring up some of the big stories over the last 7 days that stood out to us as being quite important or worth saying something about. Then we're going to have a little bit of chat about them. So obviously, I'll let Shuckle start with that.
Okay. Well, just taking a look now at sort of what's come out very recently. We've the Human Element prequel is going to be Ouya's. Is it Ouya?
Oh yeah.
Ouya.
Yeah.
Oh,
the new Android console.
We're gonna call it Ouya because we can all say it, and that's fine.
Yeah, Ouya.
Yeah, we should probably get an official word on the mat for the next one. But no, it's going to be Ouya's first exclusive title, and obviously it's a fairly large title, so. Yeah.
The interesting thing about that is the Human Element is kind of it's the first game by Robert Bowling's studio, and obviously Robert Bowling is the community manager for Call of Duty, and he obviously took a lot of slack from the community for that because nobody likes Call of Duty. But I find it really interesting that his studio is kind of shoehorning themselves into the Human Element straight away. They've got 2 Human Element titles out before they've shown absolutely anything. I think that's quite weird to me.
It's an established name, so, a lot of people will be, prepared to pay money for it because everybody knows what it is.
And it's zombies as well.
Yeah, so. Isn't it a post-apocalyptic?
Post-zombie apocalypse title.
Yeah. And, we haven't really heard anything about it apart from a few weeks ago there was that thing where they were going to use Foursquare and stuff to use your location data to help you find tools and things in-game.
Yeah. It's just
that seems like a ludicrous idea to me.
I told you about it, didn't I? And you were like, what on earth are they thinking?
Yeah, I don't want to play video games when we go outside.
I don't want to go to the
play
city and buy some drugs and then have that fully engaged. What the hell?
Yeah, they're going to start questioning what I'm bringing back from more sulfidine every week.
Why are you doing that, man? Oh, I need the health, dude. I need the health.
You don't have any shotguns back, do you?
No. It's obviously a big thing for the console, I guess, but it just seems, I don't know, it's such a buzzwordy game, just post-apocalypse with zombies.
It's a buzzwordy title. It's a buzzwordy console as well at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine it's going to appeal a lot more to the sort of casual audience.
Yeah.
Or less so casual, but less intense at least.
Yeah, I'd agree. But something that's mattered to me this week, which isn't really like news as such, it's just an announcement. Gearbox announced, I think a few days ago, that Borderlands 2 is finished. Fuck yeah.
And they said they've started working on the DLC, which has got a lot of people flying off the handle, if I'm perfectly honest.
I disagree completely. Like I know that people are flying off the handle about it, but the game launches September, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it takes weeks to go through certification.
That's what I'm like. I'm in agreement. If they finished it and it's all done, it's all getting ready to go, let them make some DLC. It's not like they've picked out parts and just said we're keeping this back.
Yeah, what I'd say is it was a really good move by them to announce that they finished the game because they avoid an issue like Mass Effect 3's issue, whereas they don't get
which one?
you know the issue with the spoilers the DLC for the Prothean.
Yeah.
But that was like an integral part of the game that they took out, and they didn't say anything about it until near enough the time. But what Gearbox have done is they're like, by the way, we finished the game and we're starting work on DLC now, so if it comes out soon, that's why. And I think that's a really clever move, because even though they're getting a bit of backlash now, saying, oh, you're working on it before launch, they've kind of, like, they've made it sound like they've justified it, basically.
Yeah. I really like the developers of, who are the, I don't even know the developers. Gearbox, yeah. I really like Gearbox. They seem to be very sort of
conscientious.
They care about
honestly
their fans
like
as opposed
the nicest developers.
They're probably my favourite developers.
Yeah.
Didn't they make Duke Nukem Forever?
They funded it, didn't they?
They funded it, or did they? I can't remember if they made it. Because if they made that, okay, yeah, that's a slight stain. They're fucking nice because of it, so it's fine. As long as they're nice, they can make as many shit games as they want.
Yeah, but wasn't Duke Nukem essentially dead, and Gearbox funded it and helped? Like they gave them their engine and they funded it or something like that. I can't really remember.
They basically put it on life support for a while.
Yeah.
Until it inevitably died.
And then it inevitably died because it was shit.
But anyway, Borderlands 2 should be great.
Yeah, I love the original. I put so much time into it. Such a good game.
I didn't love it as much as a lot of people, but it was pretty fun. So it was.
I love the weapon system. It was so refreshing to see.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool and all, but it was just incredibly annoying that they said billions of guns, and then some guns were slightly pinker than another gun. It had I
You
can see
love
that,
the pink shades of guns, though.
Yeah, I know I do, but the thing is, when I pick up a shotgun that's got 10 times scope, I'm a little bit confused as to why the hell it has that.
I just sort of always developed a very personal relationship with
I used to name them. This is old Sally, this is Betsy,
I can remember like one of my... Sorry, go on.
I was just a use and abuser with my guns. I just got abuse out of them and threw them away and stuff.
I can remember like one of my first guns was a 2-shot revolver, and I kept this for so long, just because it was so bloody satisfying to shoot off 2 shots and then have to reload in the middle of battle. It was great fun.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to number 2.
Yeah, so Elder Scrolls Online, Studio Open Mind about Console Edition. How's everyone feeling about that?
I haven't actually heard that. I didn't know about that.
No, what's this?
Yeah, apparently they're looking at consoles with an MMO, which could be
Elder Scrolls Online specifically?
Yeah.
Would it launch at the same time, or?
I don't know, they haven't really said about anything, they're just saying they're being open-minded. I just what do we think about an MMO if it went on console?
I think it's an interesting one, because obviously there's never been a successful one, but I think it definitely has the potential to succeed.
Yeah, there's no reason it wouldn't work.
I'd really like to see an MMO on console actually be done relatively well, but obviously we've had, Final Fantasy 11? What else? No, I don't.
14?
14? Was 14 console?
I don't know, actually. I think it came out on PSN,
Oh, okay.
PS3, or will be coming. And then it'll have, like, I know it's getting some sort of massive life support patch, which just...
Yeah, on PC for sure it is. But I think the only one I've heard of is Final Fantasy 11, which obviously it didn't flop, but it didn't sell particularly well, and it wasn't what they thought it would be.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody's gone out there and tried it again since then.
Yeah. Like I saw a friend of mine play Final Fantasy 11 on 360, and it was one of the worst things I've seen in my entire life, if I'm honest.
Really?
It was just because you have to sign up to an external site through your Xbox to get onto Final Fantasy.
Oh no!
It didn't work, and it was also subscription based, so you're paying what, £40?
Yeah, I heard that.
Gold, and then you're paying £10 a month for Final Fantasy. It's essentially hemorrhaging money to, attack awful designed monsters in a horrible universe.
But you're not a very big fan of the series anyway, to be fair.
Well, Final Fantasy? Oh, yeah. Final Fantasy, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially, fuck Final Fantasy. I don't like any of the main series ones except for maybe 9, because it was kind of cute and fun, but I still didn't enjoy any of the combat ever, though.
What were you going to say, Matt?
I was just going to say that the GUI of MMOs on PCs is always... I can't quite see how they'd replicate that as far as the console goes.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I suppose a lot of places get around that by instead of having buttons for each command, you'd say have LB to open up a bar, and then you just roll along the bar and click the one you want or something.
Yeah, it just you can't do that as quickly as say hit
I
four
understand
on your
that
keyboard.
entirely.
So I don't really think. Go for it all they want, especially because Elder Scrolls just got such a huge audience. They all sell anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think it could work, like I said, but we'll see when there's more details. Now, I've got one more news thing I want to talk about, which Greg's probably going to hate me for, but I'm going to go for it anyway. You know what it is, don't you? You've guessed. It's a rumour. Okay, yeah. The rumour that Final Fantasy Versus 13 has ceased development and it's now dead.
Good.
Fuck you.
Piss on its grave.
That actually makes me really sad.
Yeah, from what I gather, I don't know much about the sort of Final Fantasy thing, but it seems to be the thing that all the fans were actually looking forward to.
That's the reason that a lot of the initial purchasers bought a PS3. They bought it for Versus 13. I know that myself and another editor, Michael, for Parable, we both bought our PS3s to Final Fantasy Versus 13.
But that's the thing. The only reason people are excited about it is because they haven't seen any gameplay from it. As soon as a gameplay footage will come out, it'll just be like, oh wait, it's Final Fantasy again, or maybe...
I'm sure there is gameplay footage of it out. I'm actually going to search it up now.
Oh, of course. It kind of looked like Kingdom Hearts, didn't it? Essentially.
Yeah, it wasn't turn-based at all. It was real time completely.
Yeah, still
free roaming.
Still, it's just there's clearly not enough to get terribly hyped about. In my opinion, if I'm honest.
Obviously, I'm a big RPG nut, so this my thing, yeah.
But people were hyped about it, and I can't imagine why they would stop development. Because even if they just flop out a shit game, people are going to buy it.
Yeah. I suppose the fact is Square Enix Final Fantasy Versus 13 has kind of been their flagship upcoming title for 6 years. It's been their big upcoming title. And I think they've realised that they can't, they just can't live up to it. If this is true, that is. And they're we can't make this anywhere near as good as we've made out we can. What are we going to do?
And now they're just going to, sort of crap all over the fans and say, hey, look.
By the way, we're not doing it anymore, guys.
Well, Final Fantasy 13 3, or whatever it is now, they're thinking of doing.
They could just sort of postpone it indefinitely. Just keep making, in-between installments just to keep the hype there.
I suppose, yeah. There's a 25th anniversary conference on Final Fantasy in early September, and I think that's where we're going to hear for sure.
Oh, jeez.
But
I'll never understand the institution of Final Fantasy, essentially.
Yeah, that's fair enough, obviously.
It's never been something that's appealed to me either, and I quite like sort of JRPGs and Star-like titles.
It's because you don't have enough angst, didn't you?
No, it's all about angst at the moment.
All right,
mind you, I did like Last Remnant, and that's a hell of a lot of angst.
I never finished it. I played a bit.
That's bloody long.
Yeah, I suppose. I
Isn't
spent
that the one where
20
you have
hours
to, like,
in and I got nowhere.
Isn't that the one where you have to, like, take down the moon or something? Weird.
The one where you've got to save your sister. Does that narrow it down for you?
Nope.
Only about 70% of our JRPGs ever.
Yeah. Did any of you guys ever play Bait and Katos on the GameCube? Or I think it came
that's
out
the
on
one
the
with all
PS2 as
the
well.
cards, I think.
Yeah, that was a fantastic game.
No,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to play it. It's on my list.
Oh, it's absolutely glorious.
I always thought it would be interesting if it had like sort of a food system in it with the cards, so that if you like sort of chuck up sort of a bird or card or something, and then a fire card, and you could be able to just like cook food during the game, have like a
It has that system.
Did it?
Yeah, you could get like raw kebabs, and if you use them in battle with your fire sword, you cook your
Clearly, I
kebab.
didn't spend much time with it.
Whoa.
Your bamboo shoots grew into bamboo, which you can then use as fishing rods.
Yeah, I
It was
I never actually owned it. I kind of
Yeah, I need this game a lot more now.
Yep.
Yeah,
Kebabs everywhere.
and it had a brilliant photography system in it, which I don't know why it had it in, but you can use camera cards, and depending on how many light and dark spells you use, it dictates how well your shots come out.
Oh, man.
And then you can sell those after they develop.
Game of the year
and
of
you
the
develop.
years.
Yeah, you develop them by using lots of light spells. It was a great game, absolutely fantastic.
Okay, yeah, so those are kind of like the main stories that I'd say individually mattered to us this week, rather like we're kind of doing it at a more personal format than, just here's all the news, yeah, that's cool. But following on from that, we've kind of got a few things that we'd like to talk about that are kind of hot topics at the moment. So we're going to start off, which is something everybody has heard about or has probably spent all their money on. Chuckle especially. Okay, but
I'm doing much better than last year.
I suppose I didn't actually spend that much last year, but we're going to be talking about the Steam Summer Sale, 2K12 Malia.
If you hadn't guessed.
Yeah.
Boy.
And we're also going to talk about how all of our wallets are literally non-existent, or soon will be. So
How much have you guys actually spent on it so far?
well, I reformatted my computer recently, so I'm actually pretty safe. I haven't had access to Steam until the last few days, so I haven't seen any of the sales.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
See no evil, speak no evil.
But I saw the Carp Volga pack that was like 10 quid. And it had Reciteer, which I adore and already own. And it had Chantilly's, and it had their new one. I can't remember the name of it, but I was so tempted by that, but I managed to hold off, and I haven't spent any money yet at all. Really.
I actually went ahead and bought that bundle.
You should have bought me a copy.
It's Chantilly is it's quite good. It feels very N64-y, and it's quite reminiscent actually of the older games.
Yeah, isn't it
So
like
I'm quite
a
enjoying it.
third-person action RPG?
Yeah, yeah,
It looks like a game I could enjoy a hell of a lot.
yeah. It's just sort of. It actually uses like all the same items in Rosetia.
Right.
So like you'll be going along collecting walnut bread and sweet rolls and things to eat throughout your journey. And it's sort of got like the exact same graphic thing for each of the items.
Alright. So, Greg, have you spent anything then?
I have spent, I think it was 150 so far on Binding of Isaac.
Oh, check you. Hey, big spender.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That little dungeon crawler thing.
Yeah.
It's
By
so fun.
by the makers of Super Meat Boy.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's not really my kind of thing, honestly. I was a bit bored by it. Super Meat Boy is my kind of thing, though. Like, that sort of super Twitch gameplay.
Yeah.
That makes you either punch through your TV or just dance around your room with glory because you're just beating that fucking level. That kind of thing. So yeah, I'm happy because it was 150 for Christ's sake. And I'm pretty sure I bought the DLC for another 50p.
Oh, fair enough. Well,
fair enough.
Before we ask Matt what he bought, because we're going to be here a while once we ask him,
Don't bother.
I'm just saying, is Arma 2 still on sale?
I believe.
I can check for you now if you want to go open.
How tempted are people to buy Arma 2 just for the DayZ mod?
Not very.
Really? Have you not seen it? It looks brilliant.
I can't say I have.
I'm curious.
A bit embarrassing.
Have you seen it, Greg?
Yeah, I've seen it. It does look really, really fun.
Yeah.
A sort of, a zombie game.
It's a Shuckle, you know what it is?
Vaguely.
It's like
This is a
full MMO realistic, Arma 2 realistic, zombie apocalypse survival game.
Yep.
and it's
Oh.
it's a mod, and it's really, really good.
Like, if your food gets hit, then you have to crawl for about 5 years before you get anywhere.
And like, you need food and water. Everything has weight. You have tents and backpacks, and you can hijack planes and shit like that.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Looks really good.
my problem with these kind of games is they sound amazing.
Yeah.
And then you go play it, and then you're kind of like, I don't really want to be this put out by gameplay. I don't really want to have such a terribly uncomfortable experience.
I suppose it's like I don't want to shoot stuff. I want to shoot stuff. I don't want to have a
die horribly and
so that I can
painfully.
pick up the gun quickly.
Yeah, I mean, people will buy it and they'll like have some fun with it, but then they'll just be like, "Wow, I'm getting incredibly involved in this game to move about 5 meters before something kills me instantly," kind of thing. And it just, I don't know, the payoff just isn't there for me sometimes. I mean, they just kind of need to balance it slightly better, in my opinion.
Fair
Anyway.
enough. So okay, the dreaded moment, Matt.
Don't. Just stop now, just move on.
No, Matt, what have you bought? How much money have
I
you
don't-
spent?
Like, over 50 quid, which is much better than last year. But the thing is it's like last year I picked up some brilliant titles, and I don't know what I've spent it on this year. It's just drained out slowly on, oh, that's 50p. In fact, I bought Train Simulator DLC. I don't know why. It was like, fuck it, it's 75p. I'm never going to need that 75p.
Oh man.
And evidently I kept buying a load of small stuff.
So you don't know what you bought?
Not like really, you know. I went ahead and bought that Weeboo kit.
The Weeboo kit.
You know, Chantilly's and the
yeah.
other one. And
A pack.
yeah, I can't actually connect to Steam at the moment for some reason.
It's fair enough.
That's fine.
But,
Transiteer's the best game ever made, though. So
Yeah, that's all I really need to say. Well, I already had that, but
Yeah.
I bought it again.
I had to get.
Just a bit of capitalism, ho.
Yeah, can never get away from it. Oh, okay, there we are. Finally in on Steam.
All right. You're looking for the Armour 2 pack then? I suppose
yeah,
you
I
might as
was.
well tell us what are the best sales on today as of recording.
Just give it a second here.
I'm on
Okay,
there.
yeah, Armour 2 is still on there at the moment. We've got The Walking Dead Episode 2. That's not actually on sale though.
Jade Empire.
Legends of Pegasus, which looks ludicrously similar to Endless Space.
Oh, it's even got the same font and everything. My tip for today is definitely Jade Empire, which everyone should own.
Never
Because
even heard of it.
Whoa. We're gonna fight here.
I'm going to apologise in advance.
It's BioWare's best game, and I know people are going to start biting my
I've
head
heard
off.
of it, yeah.
But yeah, Jade Empire Special Edition, £224 on Steam right now. So I'm telling everyone to go and buy it if they're listening to this.
Fair enough.
I picked up Trine 2 for like 3 quid,
Oh,
and
right.
I played through that with a friend, and that is fantastically beautiful. Just unparalleled visuals.
Yeah.
Is that on console?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
Is
got.
it actually already out? I
co-op.
heard it was coming later.
No, it's definitely it's out on PC.
Yeah, I know it's out on PC,
Almost.
but I heard it was being moved over to consoles later. I don't know if it already is out.
Okay, fair enough.
Definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that the co-op is from console to PC. It doesn't matter what you're playing on.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's
Yeah,
Portal 2-esque.
well,
yeah.
obviously the Steam sales raped our wallets a bit.
Yeah.
I think it's raped Matt's wallets a bit more than it's raped ours. But I think we should move away from it before he gets tempted to buy Jade Empire.
Yeah, so we'll just close Steam.
Yeah, just close the program right now. Right, the other thing we actually touched upon earlier, this is something we really wanted to talk about because it's kind of a hot topic at the moment. Ouya, oh yeah, whatever you want to call it. What do you think?
It's a confusing one because I looked at that and I was so excited about the prospect of it. It was fantastic. I was like, this really cheap, nice little console that'll just sort of let you play some games now and then that are, just little indie games, could be really interesting, especially for startup companies. And I do still believe that startup companies would really like it. But I think people have lots of unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, they have it's kind of like when people heard about it, they're like, oh my god, it's the next best thing. This is gonna be the next big three.
Wasn't there a
console,
poll where everyone was like, we want COD, we want the new Time Splitters if it ever exists, we want fucking Final Fantasy Versus 13 if that exists?
Obviously, I haven't looked too much into it, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know a bit about it, but I don't know loads. But I feel that a lot of people are trying to say that this is going to be another big thing.
Yeah.
And while it might be a big thing, it's not going to be a big thing to the level that they think it is. It's going to be, like, you're still going to have your Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, but Ouya will be on a different level, maybe similar to the level that, what's it called? You know the other one? The other one.
It says it all, really.
I can't remember the name of it. It was a big hot topic last year on live.
Oh, yes.
That was a hot topic last year, and a lot of people were like, yeah, this is going to be the next big three, this is going to be as good as PC. It's obviously succeeded, but it's nowhere near at the level of the major home consoles, and it's not going to be, and I think Ouya is going to kind of fall into category alongside on live.
I think Ouya is sort of appealing... Sorry, go on.
No, I thought I'd mention that Ouya has currently made $5,400,000.
They requested 950,000, and they've made 5.5 million.
And over 1,000 people have already bought the console by pledging more than $95. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I think the audience it's appealing to is quite different from On Live, because I feel that whereas On Live was appealing to, you know, people like us sort of thing who were slightly more into their video games, I think Ouya is appealing to perhaps the people who've maybe played a bit of Left 4 Dead or something like that there, a bit of Portal 2.
Yeah, and like they're looking for a relatively cheap console, and they're like, they see an Xbox 360, 150 quid, and they're like, nah. They see an Ouya, $100, so what's that, 60 quid?
Yeah, something cheap like that. Yeah, I'll pick that up, and we can play some, you know, nice, enjoyable, casual living room games.
That's fair enough.
I can't imagine any of the titles are going to be the sort of things that appeal to us and probably the people listening.
I don't know. I think I'd quite like.
I'd be interested in purchasing one.
Really? It's,
I was originally polarized against it, but after reading more about it, I've warmed up to the idea.
Okay, I've never had like a huge. I've never been particularly enthusiastic about indie games. I think a lot of them miss, you know, and they sort of try to hide behind a retro cover and they have quirky gimmicks to sell them, like VVVVV, but at the end of the day, they're not that great.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the games that are going to be on it will be obviously, you know, ported from sort of portable devices, you know, phones, etc.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Yeah, like I don't care about owning sort of a smartphone in any kind of capacity. So I think this kind of thing for 60 quid to just pick it up and sort of throw on these interesting little games, I can't be bothered to buy a smartphone for it. It could be worth my time in that way.
But the thing is, my complaint about it really is that whereas the games themselves might be enjoyable to some level, it's a home console. So, you know, you're plugging this into your computer and it's going to have a position next to your Xbox, your Wii, your PlayStation, or your computer.
Well,
and it's going to have to try to offer content that's parallel to what you can get on any of those.
The interesting thing is that obviously today, though, it was it's kind of a rumor, but I think it's like official, but it's a rumor that, you know, it's the size of a Rubik's Cube. It's a really small console, and the point in that is that you can just like you take the cable, you take the console, and you just plug it in wherever you need it. And
but you know you still have to have a screen for that and.
Oh yeah, but that like brings along a different mentality. Like rather than the mentality with your like Xbox 360, it stays in the same place all the time. Whereas the Ouya, it's the kind of thing where you just, if you want to go downstairs, you just unplug it, take it downstairs. Like you take it around your friend's house, whatever. It's like, whereas it is a home console, it's a lot like it removes the mental barrier and makes it feel like it's portable.
But I was reading a bit about the actual specs that it might be offering.
Yeah.
And as far as I gather, it's not offering anything that the latest iPad's offering.
All right.
I believe it's using the same processor. So obviously it's tiny, so obviously it can be contained into a sort of a handheld thing. And I think that would be a lot more, if it was handheld, I would probably end up buying it, and I'm not going to buy it at the moment.
That's fair.
Because it's never going to take the position of my computer. It's never going to take the position of my home console.
I don't think it's trying to. That's the thing. It's sort of like occupying a niche between your your smartphone and your Xbox.
Because I
like everyone either has a smartphone or not. That's the only thing I'm thinking is like it's for someone like me who does not have a smartphone. It's kind of interesting, but if you have a smartphone, you can already get most of the games. You have an Xbox, then why would you want it? I feel like if you're lacking one of those things, if you have a smartphone but not an Xbox, then maybe Ouya would be sort of like a mid-tier thing. Or if you want an Xbox and you want to just play some casual games, then okay. But if you want both, then I'm not sure.
That's why I don't think it appealed to me personally.
That's definitely fair enough, and like there's probably a lot of people that agree with that. But one thing I find quite interesting, this is purely speculation, mind. Right. Obviously, like Android and iOS and all those kind of portable indie games, things like that, they're really like small, condensed, pick up and play games. That's the point of them. But with Ouya, I think that it could bring about a small paradigm shift in like the kind of size and the scale of those games, and like we might see bigger and bigger games being developed because even though the specs are the same, so they'd be the same kind of level of graphical capability and stuff like that. I can see them kind of saying, we've got a real platform here with people who can put more time in than 10 minutes here and there. We can make a bigger scale game.
I can definitely see that happening.
Yeah,
that would be nice to see.
That would be really interesting, like seeing fully fledged RPGs on Ouya. And as a result, iOS and things like that. And I think that would be really nice to see, and it'd really help the mobile market evolve.
So an indie title that I played relatively recently that really changed my sort of opinion of them was Endless Space.
Yeah.
Because I think before that, almost every indie game I saw was sort of hiding a little bit and just sort of... It was pick up and play as much as they tried it not to be.
Oh, yeah.
And then Endless Space came up and it was at the level of a developed game with proper developers and publishers, if not above the level, to be honest. And I'd love to see...
Beautiful.
It really is, and it just fixes everything that's been an issue with other strategy games.
You gave it a really good review, actually, didn't you? Because you reviewed the full title.
Yeah. I spent like 24 hours before I actually even got around to starting my review. And even then I stopped for an extra 4 or 5 hours every paragraph.
Oh, man. Is there anything else anyone has to kind of add on Ouya? Because I think we've talked quite a lot about it, and we've
not much, just... It's got a lot of potential. It would be something decent, but everything I've read and everything I've seen just makes me think it'll probably sort of come out. People will be interested for a little while, and then it'll just be scraped under the carpet, like most of the things.
Yeah, that's what I actually meant when I spoke about it being comparable to One Life. It'll have its 15 minutes of fame, and then it'll fall back.
It's okay. They got $5 million to sit on anyway, so...
I suppose.
I can definitely see it succeeding. I just don't think it's going to appeal to myself or other people who don't have any friends. But it's going to be like the type of thing you bring around to a party or something and have a laugh with, similar in effect to Kinect and what the Wii's become in recent years.
I suppose we at least know why Matt don't want it.
To be fair, if someone brought Kinect to a party I was at, I'd leave.
Oh. Alright, yeah, so we've spoken about the other thing that we really wanted to talk about because, well, me and Greg are massive 360... We're not 360 fanboys at all, actually. Greg prefers the PS3, but we play a hell of a lot of Xbox 360 because we're console fags. So, Halo 4.
I'm going to kick your ass in Halo 4.
Halo 4.
I feel a bit offended being left out of that one.
I'm extremely hyped for Halo.
Really hyped. I've never been as hyped for a Halo game. There was recent news that the Forge mode will be by far the biggest ever, which,
that I loved.
After the Halo Reach Forge mode, that will be incredible to hit, because Halo Reach Forge mode was massive.
I was also a Forge user, not a Forge creator, so I'm looking forward to see what everyone else can do while I sort of reap their rewards.
Did any of you two play Far Cry 2?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't care much for the game, but the level editor on that, I loved. I spent more time developing shit levels than I did playing the game.
Yeah, it was a really in-depth thing.
Yeah, you can sort of change the relief and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's been a long time since I played it, since it's a very old game. Well, it's not very old, 4 years now, but still.
Yeah.
I remember playing around with that quite a lot. Never made anything interesting, but it's always good.
Yeah. I think it was one of the first games I got on my 360, actually.
Yeah. Talking about Cuphead, to be fair, Trials Evolution, sorry. That has an amazing map editor. It's just this absolutely huge world where you can stake sort of pinpoints into different parts of the map and just travel between them. And you obviously you can't change the terrain and everything, but for that to be 1,200 Microsoft point game is just mind-bogglingly huge.
You can do absolutely anything with it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You can change the actual structure of the floor. You can add in checkpoints, anything. It's such a good editor.
Yeah, I really think Forge is going to help sort of put it along, because even with Halo 3's quite limited Forge options, I found it particularly... I spent hours on it, I can't say anything else other than that. It just soaked up so much of my time.
Yeah, I loved seeing what people could do. That level in Halo 3 that was essentially just a Forge mode level.
Yeah, rat pit, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah, it was like a small warehouse kind of thing, and you could just rip it apart and just completely change it.
Yeah, I know there was a DLC for Sandbox as well, which was a desert level in which you could remove everything and just forge it up.
Exactly, and then they continued that with Forge World, which is just this absolutely, huge area just to muck around in.
Yeah.
And the idea that they're going to make that better is making me quite excited. Well, if I'm perfectly honest, I can't comprehend how they're going to do it, but I'm incredibly excited to see what happens.
Yeah, it will really add an extra dimension to it.
Yeah, for Halo 4, the other thing, I don't think I've ever been exactly excited for a Halo game like I've been for this.
No, same. I was quite hyped for Halo Reach, actually, to be honest, but that was the only Halo launch I've been around for, other than the side story, ODST and stuff. Because I was late to the game, but Halo 4 looks to be really impressive, and I'm hyped.
Yeah, I was very excited for Halo 2 after playing Halo, because I loved Halo 1, and then Halo 2 sort of let me down quite a bit. And so I wasn't excited at all for Halo 3.
Did you not like Halo 2?
No, I didn't particularly enjoy the storyline or anything they added or did with it, really.
Fair enough.
I don't think that it made much of an expansion on the genre.
Yeah.
It was like a necessary step because they implemented the dual wielding of guns and such, but
and the online.
Yeah, the online of Halo 2 is a lot of people consider it the best.
Yeah, but I think when Halo 3 came out, I instantly fell in love with Halo 3, and it rekindled my passion for the genre, for the series.
Me and Halo have a weird relationship. I loved Halo 1 when it came out. I never owned an Xbox until much later down the line. But I played the whole game through with my friend in about 3 sittings. And despite stuff I think it was the library, I believe, was that horrible level that just sort of never ended.
I never played the original Halo.
Oh, burn.
It's been a fair few years for me as well, so...
Burn. It's just this horrible level. It took forever to do. But I really enjoyed the entirety of that game. And then Halo 2, I enjoyed the multiplayer, but never really cared for the single player.
Yeah.
And then
I liked what they tried to do with the 2 races that you sort of play as throughout time, but...
Yeah, that was quite the heretic. That was interesting. And then Halo 3, I remember specifically staying up all night to play the beta. Because I was hanging around at my friend's house. And we were both there when it dropped, and he just started downloading it. And then we just played it. We were I think we were one of the first 100 people on it, and we were just like, yep, this is amazing.
I played Halo 3 to death and back. I never even played the multiplayer that much, to be honest. It was always co-op and just... I did play a lot of multiplayer, not online, I meant, sorry. But, it was always sort of co-op, and I can remember spending fucking hours getting those wanker skulls. I don't know why I spent time on it.
I did the exact same thing. When I first got an Xbox, one of the first games I bought was Halo 3, and this was a year after launch. This was 08. And,
weird thing is, I've never owned Halo 3.
Really?
Yeah, I played at least 1,000 hours of Halo 3, but that was mainly through playing it at my friend's house, multiplayer, co-op, all of this stuff, and I borrowed it for a while and played through the campaign on Legendary.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, I bought ODST, which came with a multiplayer disc with all the DLC.
Oh yeah, I got ODST as well.
I played it with that. So, the ODST was really fun. It was like an interesting little aside, essentially.
Oh yeah.
The soundtrack alone in those games is enough to make me buy any sequel, though.
Yeah, goddamn love.
I know I'm going to get bullied for this a bit, because it kind of deserves bullying, but Reach is actually the Halo game that I played the most multiplayer on. In fact, it's the game I played the most of.
The multiplayer it added too much. Like, Armor Lock is one of the worst things.
I think they should have added Sprint and Sprint alone, being honest.
Yeah, Sprint's great, especially, like, in the competitive.
Yeah, it really, it speeds the game up, but it also keeps it at the same kind of controlled level that Halo is. Because, like, Halo's a lot more controlled than, say, example, a game like Call of Duty. It's a lot more slow-paced and kind of meticulous. But adding Sprint speeds it up a bit, and it keeps it meticulous, but it's fast and meticulous. It's really interesting to play and watch, but having shit like Armor Lock in there just kind of, like, ruins it.
Slows it down. I mean, it stops. It did get.
all got something.
Clearly, I'm breaking. But no, there was quite a substantial nerf, I believe, for the Armor Lock. Quite in the title update when 343 came on the scene.
Right.
Like, basically, you could still be beat down when you're inside it with, like, a gravity hammer.
Oh, okay.
That kind of thing. It essentially only stops vehicles, and everything else kind of doesn't do that much. Which is interesting. Like, I think that's kind of how it should be. It should just be sort of an anti-vehicle thing.
Yeah.
And that game of chicken you play with a vehicle is quite interesting. If they know you got Armor Lock, they go up to your face, and then you use Armor Lock, and then they wait, and then just run you over. And then you can call their bluff by just not doing it, and then doing it when they come forward. And it's interesting.
Yeah. It's great multiplayer. I think it works really well, and it's something you can play like with your friends even if you've never played the game before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because Halo is very much gun skill dependent rather than knowledge dependent. I'm gonna get shot for this. People like going, no, but you don't know the maps. But compared to any other game, it's like if you got a good shot, you're gonna win. Whereas other games aren't like that.
Like with Call of Duty, I mean, I'm not particularly great at it by any means, but if I'm playing with somebody who's not played it much before, I will win.
Yeah.
Whereas with Halo, I don't think it takes like that much experience into hand.
No.
And it's one of the reasons why I loved it so much. You can play it with whoever you want, whenever you want.
Yeah, I agree.
The visuals for Halo 4 look great as well, from what we've seen.
Oh, it's beautiful. The E3 demo.
Yeah. Those over fancy jazzy weapons.
I just remember everything I've heard makes it sound even more like Metroid Prime than I've heard before, and that just makes
Which is great in
Metroid
every
Prime
way.
cross with Halo is possibly the most exciting.
Best crossing.
Yeah. My pants are going tight just talking about it.
Unless it was like, Metroid meets Dark Souls, that's probably the only thing better. At work, baby. Fucking interest.
Oh, man. The bonfire has been lit. Master Chief, let's go.
Yeah. Anything else to say about Halo 4, really? Just, we're all incredibly excited about it.
We're super hype. We're probably going to be doing coverage of it because hype, Halo 4, yeah.
What weapons do you guys sort of find yourself using most of the time in Halo?
BR. MLG legit.
Pistols always.
Yeah, fair enough. I
would just dual wield the pistols.
Yeah, I'm always BR or pistols.
Speaking of a bit of a comparison with Halo, though, this is another thing that I'm going to get shot for. I thought Gears of War multiplayer was better than Halo.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of see where you're coming from. Gears of War, I really like Gears of War, just straight up team deathmatches.
Yeah, same.
Because that shit is tense.
Especially if we were directly comparing 3 and Reach, Gears of War 3 and Reach.
Yeah.
Gears of War 3 is such a good game for not competitive. I've never played it competitive, but
it's a lot of fun. Yeah. I grew very tired with it after a while though. I played it straight a good 30 hours multiplayer when it came out after I beat single player.
Yeah, I had so much fun with it. It's such a well-made game. It feels really heavy, which is a bad thing, but they kind of overcome it really well.
Some things
I did really enjoy.
Sorry, Annie,
I was just going to say, I did really enjoy it when I played it with Dan a few weeks back or days back, however long ago it was.
Two-man hoarding.
But, yeah, it just wasn't, I don't know, it didn't have the same thing that Halo gave me, and it might just be because when I played Halo a lot, I sort of had a lot of people to play it with.
Yeah.
Whereas with Gears of War, it was, none of my friends actually bought it.
All right.
So it was essentially just me, and they'd sort of come around and we'd have a bit of a game, but
it
never really had the same competitiveness that I had when I played Halo 3 with my friends.
So it was the other way around. I had people to play a Halo 3 campaign with, but like not really multiplayer because they'd already like played it and finished with it a year ago. But with Gears of War 3, I bought it on launch, and like I had a lot of people who had bought it who were like I got on really well with, and we'd just make a party and go for it, and it was great fun, and I put a lot out of it.
I enjoyed Gears of War a lot.
Yeah.
The multiplayer was great fun. I mean, they added that annoying new shotgun that was in 1 KO if you're right next to it.
Yeah, the sawn-off.
That was pretty.
Just as a note for anyone, if you use the sawn-off, you're shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can remember when I started losing against you, Dan. I instantly switched.
You pulled out the sawn-off, and I was like, "What are you doing? Get out of my game!" And then you shot me, and I sponged it.
You plunged it. Moving on.
Gears of War, better than Halo. That's the.
Nope.
No.
But yeah, obviously, it'll be really interesting to see if Halo 4 does better than the new Gears of War title, Judgment. Is it? Is it Judgment?
Yeah, Judgment.
Yeah.
I feel like Halo's got so much more to offer than Gears of War.
Yeah,
that is one thing about Halo. I can see it never-ending type thing. It's so fun to play. Whereas Gears of War, to me, I think the multiplayer doesn't change that much. One thing about Halo 4 is multiplayer better not have all of the perks and gimmicks and shit that was thrown in with the newest multiplayer.
I think it's been confirmed it won't have.
Okay, that's fantastic.
I think it's... Correct me if I'm wrong, but it now works off a system not very similar, but partially similar to Call of Duty, in which you have classes, but they're not like customizable classes, they're all stock classes, and it's like you can either spawn with a BR and a handgun, or you spawn with a sniper and a handgun, or something like that.
I don't think they do snipers.
I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sure that you spawn with different weapons rather than different things, and everybody has sprint, but there are no other as such.
Yeah, do you know if the maps will still be littered with guns that you pick up and stuff?
Cause I'd imagine they would be. I can't see why they wouldn't, because I can't imagine them letting you spawn with like a rocket launcher or something.
No, yeah, because that is something I think holds the thingamajig titles by themselves.
I suppose it might be similar to Reach in the kind of there was that really big scale game mode where like the further on you got into the game, the more classes you had access to. Do you remember that part?
Yeah.
Infiltration or something.
Yeah, and like obviously you'd start with nothing and you'd start with just access to the standard guns. And then when you took the first point, you'd get an access to another class, and the vehicles would spawn at your base, and it would carry on. I'd imagine it might work like that, but I don't know that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see sort of what comes out, because we haven't had all that much, even though it's very close to coming out.
Yeah, it's end of this year, in the big gaming season.
Yeah. It'll be great. Anyway, it'll be something I'll probably end up buying my gold again for it.
Yeah, buddy!
So I can school you elite style, etc.
But those are like the kind of things we really wanted to talk about today, but we have like one more thing we wanted to talk about. I'm going to let Greg handle most of it, but I'm going to introduce it, because Greg is kind of PR man, and we'll let him do his job because we're all lazy. But
thank you.
Over the last week or so, like we were in a partnership with the developers of an indie title called Ravaged, and obviously it's a really good online first-person shooter on the PC. It's kind of like a post-apocalyptic Borderlands-style, crazy, over-the-top shooter. And it looks really good. It plays really good. Obviously, we're saying this like not as a partner of them, but from our own review. If you want to check out our preview of the game, you can on the site. It's like somewhere on the first page. But
plug.
due to our partnership with them, we have 50 codes for the game to give away, and we'll be giving away some of those codes over this podcast, like as a result of the podcast. If you want to win a code, you can either win it through the podcast, or you can go onto the website or onto our social media. But I'll let Greg tell you more details.
Well, basically, yeah, as Dan said, we've got 50 of our 100 codes left over. So we've already given out 50, obviously, because we can count.
Maybe.
So we've got 50 left, and we're just sort of... we have an article posted up that you can look at. We'll link it down below, especially on the YouTube. We'll link it down there. You can look on that, see how you can get it. And we've also got another thing you can do by giving us your most embarrassing gaming stories.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah, it's basically this podcast will be going up on a few places like Podbean and YouTube and all that, and you have the option to post comments. If you can post comments on that place, well, you will be able to, but post a comment telling us about your most embarrassing gaming story. Obviously it's anonymous, or semi-anonymous, and semi-anonymous.
Well, if you want to send us messages instead,
if you want to
if it really
send
is
your
that
picture,
embarrassing,
ASL, and anything else, that'll do. But give us an embarrassing gaming story. Give us something to laugh at, and if we laugh, we'll give you a code.
Yeah. I'll probably take the piss out of it in the next podcast as well.
Yeah, we might read one or two. No, we won't. We won't read it out. It's fine.
If you give us permission, of course, we'll read it out.
Yeah.
Nothing too...
We could do something without names. But anyway, moving on. Well, not moving on, back to the point at hand.
Yeah, nothing too lewd, obviously. So keep it moderately clean, unless you want to PM us.
Fuck it, lewd as shit.
Yeah, okay. Sexiest.
I'll give you reviews for lewd ones.
Yeah. I mean, do any of you guys have an embarrassing gaming story you want to share?
I don't have any off the top of my head. I tell you what,
I'm thinking about it, video games on that.
I'll give you one.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that next week. Instead of like the introductions that we gave this episode, we'll tell you an embarrassing gaming story about ourselves. All right?
That'll be fantastic.
That'll be interesting. But obviously, I don't know if Greg said, but if you don't win it through the podcast or through telling us an embarrassing story, you can go through one of our social medias, for example, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you follow us, like us, and spread that we're doing a giveaway, we'll enter you into a draw, and we give away like 10, 15 codes each day. So there's a few different ways you can win if you're interested.
Yeah, there's tons of different ways. And it's a fantastic game. As I said, check out our preview. And yeah, hopefully you'll...
That concludes the shameless plug.
Yeah, but...
Now, I think we're pretty close to wrapping up, unless anyone has got anything else we particularly want to talk about.
No, that's everything I want to talk about, really.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. Well, obviously we hope you enjoyed the first episode. There might be a few stumbles or whatever, because this was basically our first take, and it's our first ever attempt at something like this, so we're obviously going to get better as we go on. So
we'll also remove the stick out of all of our asses as we get along. Calm down a little bit, obviously.
No, that's the charm.
Yep.
But if you enjoyed, we'd be really appreciative if you supported us and kind of shared it about your friends, or said, give it a listen, because we put a lot of work into it. But you'll be able to find this on multiple places, which you already will have if you're listening to it. So we hope you enjoyed, and I suppose this is some form of outro. Greg, go.
Yeah, thanks for listening once again. So, yeah, share us about as much as possible, because we're fantastic. And everyone must know about us, clearly. And we're not arrogant at all. So, yeah, that's a bye from me.
Chuckle?
And, want to say anything, Chuckle?
See ya. Thanks for listening.
Okay, guys, thanks for listening. And as a final note, Greg is Scottish.
Wait.
And we're done.
Christ.
I thought that was quite good.
Yeah, it was cool.
Shall I just hang up and...
hang up and re-record?